It's Jake Jeremy, and today I'm going to be talking about the fact that the Wednesday Night Wars appear to be over. So it was recently revealed by the Mat Men Pro Wrestling podcast, as well as the Wrestling Observer newsletter, or at least Dave Meltzer said on his F4W online website, that NXT is going to be moving nights as of April the 13th. So April the 13th is a couple of days after WrestleMania 37. It's going to be Tuesday nights now on the USA Network for NXT, which essentially means that the Wednesday Night Wars, something that fans have dubbed it AEW Dynamite versus NXT programming, has now come to an end. It's interesting that the wars have now come to an end because fundamentally it doesn't matter if you fall on the side of NXT, fall on the side of AEW, or just enjoy pro wrestling as a whole. NXT was being absolutely drubbed each and every week by AEW, not only in the full viewership, but in terms of the 18 to 49 demographic. It was just a complete whitewash. Most weeks, most months. There were a couple of times where NXT kind of clawed back some momentum. Fundamentally, AEW was coming out on top, and this move can only help both promotions because now AEW goes unopposed on a Wednesday night. They haven't got anyone else to worry about. They can just put on their programming. I know they've said before that they're more worried about things like news. They're worried about quiz shows, other TV channels, other properties aside from NXT. But fundamentally, you're taking an audience of pro wrestling fans and putting them over two different nights now. So you've now got a Tuesday night for NXT, you've now got a Wednesday night for AEW. Yes, Impact Wrestling is on Tuesday nights as well, but fundamentally, Impact is not on the level of an AEW. So NXT should do very well on Tuesdays. They should quite easily hit between that 800,000 to 1 million. But it's going to be really interesting to see what AEW can pull off without any sort of competition. Then when they first started, kind of October 2019, when the Wednesday Night Wars started, AEW were doing pretty big numbers. They broke 1 million a few times, but then over the last couple of months, over the last 6 to 12 months, it's been going down a little bit. We've seen kind of around the 700,000 mark for AEW, 800,000 marks, sort of similar numbers. NXT went down to about 500,000 viewers some weeks here and there, but fundamentally, we're now going to see, I think we're going to see less, those numbers are not going to be like that now going forward. Now, interesting, it's worth noting with the Nielsen ratings that obviously it's just a small segment. It's just kind of I'm not 100% sure exactly how the Nielsen ratings work on a data point basis, but realistically, if you've got people switching between channels and they've got a Nielsen box, they've got a specific box that plugs in and uses their rating to project what the final rating was. If you've got people going through back and forth between channels, you might not necessarily have the exact amount of eyeballs that you think you have. So if you're watching on TNT, you switch over to USA Network, it might count you twice. Eric Bischoff has mentioned this many times before on the 83 Weeks podcast. He said, look, there wasn't a point in time where, you were getting 6s and 7s in the ratings. You were getting crazy numbers in the ratings. And Bischoff is quick to point out, look, you weren't getting 15 to 20 million people watching pro wrestling on a Monday night. That just wasn't the case. So sometimes the numbers kind of cross-pollinated and created that sort of confusion. But fundamentally, this is good for both brands. But who's it best for in terms of people arguing online? It's best for pro wrestling because, come on, NXT and AEW there were points where they were going up against each other head to head, and they were making decisions on the program. I actually think it was more AEW sometimes than it was NXT. They were making decisions on the program to hot shot angles, to take certain things, push it forward a little bit. Now we've got Shaquille O'Neal tonight appearing on AEW Dynamite. Now it's not AEW's fault. He's not available this Sunday for the AEW Revolution pay-per-view, so they've pushed it forward, and they're going to do a pretty good number on the ratings with Shaquille O'Neal on the show, teaming up with Jade Cargill to take on Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet. But going forward, it's going to be interesting to see how AEW treats kind of the lack of official pro wrestling competition on a nationwide, a worldwide level. Are they going to be able to really kind of say, right, let's take stock. We haven't got to rush things anymore. We haven't got to do this and that. We can just build our storylines. Now, AEW do a good job of building storylines. And to be fair, so do NXT. I don't think NXT are quite as guilty, although they have done things like bring in Edge, but that did make storyline sense. It really did. But NXT and AEW now are going to be able to build, and NXT might actually get back to what it was before this all happened, before the pandemic, Before, they were going up against AEW. Now they're going to be able to say, right, we're the brand that builds new stars around our more established acts like Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Someone like Timothy Thatcher is now going to really probably get more time to blossom and grow even more as a performer. It's the place where people are supposed to start in WWE, build up their stock, and then go to the main roster. I think it can be that again, and it can be the entertaining program it was. Because we all remember exactly how good NXT was, 2015 onwards? It was a fantastic show. Sami Zayn, Pac/Neville, Kevin Owens, just such an amazing Finn Balor, Hideo Itami to a slightly lesser extent, but there was some incredible talents on that brand, and I really want WWE to kind of get back to a point where that is what NXT is, and I want to see AEW flourish. I would absolutely love for AEW to start getting, those 1.5, 1.6 million viewers. Because when you start to do that, if you look at Monday Night Raw this week, I believe it was 1.88 million on the rating. It'd be great. It would absolutely be fantastic for another pro wrestling brand. I don't care if you're a WWE stan. I don't care if you're an All Elite Wrestling mega fan. We need competition. This business has always thrived on competition, and that's exactly what we're going to need going forward. So don't worry about AEW versus NXT anymore. Now worry about AEW kind of taking on WWE in their own right. Now's the time for AEW to prove, look, we can bring in these big numbers. And it's very, very exciting. So thank you very much for watching right here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit subscribe down below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and the little notification bell so you know each and every time we release a brand new video right here on the SE Scoops YouTube channel. Thanks.